And the action that I seek is that the Minister rectify the disgraceful COVID consequence and remove the emergency management days credited to violent and high-risk offenders during the COVID state of emergency. These emergency management days were originally meant for extreme examples where prisoners were denied their normal entitlements. However, because COVID was declared an emergency, prisoners are now getting hundreds of days off their sentences, some more than a year. This is the case for the family of Katie Haley, who learnt that her killer will now receive 427 days off his sentence and now will be released earlier than his original non-parole period. The government was warned about this exact scenario by the opposition when they enacted the COVID-19 Omnibus Bill, and despite that the Leader of the government and now Attorney General saying emergency management days are not a right, these EMDs were automatically provided to prisoners during COVID instead of the usual practice of prisoners having to apply for them. Now that some of Victoria's worst and most violent criminals are now getting a year or more off their sentence, something needs to be done. Victims and their families are suffering very badly because of this. In 2021, the Federal Parliament passed legislation to retrospectively remove EMDs and their eligibility for federal prisoners in Victorian prisons. While I don't normally agree with retrospective legislation, I refer to the comments by the federal member for Isaacs and now Attorney General, who stated that removing EMDs for federal prisoners in Victoria prisons, he said, "We do not think those concerns outweigh the interest of community safety." So, Minister, I'm asking you to urgently review this legislation and give these families some peace.
But I might just say I'll respond a little bit to Dr. Heath's and give a more substantive answer in writing as per the orders, but I just want to express my deep sympathies to the Haley family, and I know the way that emergency management days were applied during the COVID pandemic, once in a century pandemic, I may add, have caused great distress on a number of victims in our state, and it's a matter that I'm looking at closely, but I will provide a more comprehensive response in writing, Dr. Heath,